Picking our favorite ThinkPad is tough, but we're going to try. Hey everybody, welcome to PC Perspective. I'm Ryan Schrout. Today we're going to talk about Lenovo Thinkpad laptops. We have 4 different ones sitting on the table here in front of me. Many of you know for many years I have been an avid user of Lenovo Thinkpad laptops. I've used them for years and years, gone from generation to generation to generation because of a couple of key things that Lenovo and the Thinkpad brand have kind of epitomized in the notebook market. One, they're known to be very durable and very reliable machines. I had a ThinkPad X250 that I dropped in the concrete multiple times that continued to work and function very well despite having a cracked magnesium body. ThinkPads are known to have the best, some of the best, if not the very best keyboards in the notebook market. They have a lot of throw, they're very comfortable, key layout is fantastic, and anybody who has tried to go from a ThinkPad to a different design or back and forth will know immediately that the advantages of typing and working on a ThinkPad are significant. They're also kind of synonymous with business users, and this could be large enterprises to small and medium business to the guy that works from home but happens to travel a lot, which is basically what I was. I needed something that was sturdy and reliable, comfortable to work on, and was get the job done. Now, what we have here in front of us is not the entirety of the ThinkPad collection, but a lot of it, as you can tell, right? We've got everything from the 14-inch clamshell to the Ultrabook to the 2-in-1. And what we wanted to do is kind of just go over some of the highlights, what makes all 4 of these machines different, and why one user may pick one over the other. Let's start with the biggest one we have here, the Lenovo Thinkpad T450s. All of these machines are based on Broadwell, we'll point out. And even though Skylake will be out soon, differences between these segments will probably remain unchanged. The T450s is a 14-inch screen, so it's the largest form factor we have, a traditional notebook style, a very high throw on the keys, which is nice. It has a Core i5-5300U processor in it, 8 gigs of memory, 128 gig SSD. And what you'll see is, as we talk about all these machines and the configurations, we'll keep that hardware pretty much the same across all of them whenever we can. When we talk about pricing, that helps keep everything equal there. On this machine, you have an internal 23 watt-hour battery. That is one that's internal, not removable, not changeable. And you have a slot on the bottom of it where you can add either an additional 23 watt-hour battery like this that keeps the machine fairly thin, or you have an optional 72 watt-hour battery that you can add to it that does kind of prop it up. It sticks out the bottom a little bit. But the advantage is obviously you're getting a total of 95 watt-hours of battery on this machine. You're going to get a tremendous amount of battery life out of that, especially using the low power Broadwell processor and the screen resolution that we have this one at 1080p as well. Total price for that is $1,230 to about $1,300 depending on what you get the battery pricing accessory at, right? The extra 72 watt-hour battery. And you'll see that is a common thread across all of the notebooks that we look at. So that's kind of the larger, it's not a big laptop, it's not a 15-inch thick kind of gaming machine or anything like that. It's still relatively thin, still considered an Ultrabook. You have lots of connectivity options around the sides. It's a full experience kind of, 14-inch usable laptop. We step down to the next size below that. We have the Lenovo X240. This is the ThinkPad X250. This is essentially the same hardware in terms of connectivity-wise. It's very similar. You have maybe one fewer USB port on this, but the design is very similar. This is 12 inches instead of 14 inches. So that's pretty much your difference there. You got the keyboard is a little bit smaller, maybe a 95% keyboard layout, but still very comfortable, high throw. Again, Core i5-5300U, 8 gigs of system memory, 128 gig SSD, and the same battery configuration as well. Internal 23 watt-hour, spot for an additional 23 or the wider, thicker 72, giving you up to a total of 95 watt-hours of battery. Again, a tremendous amount of battery life. It's going to get you, like this, these are literally the all-day battery life that everything else claims to be, but these machines actually have. Now that machine, again, is $1,230 or so with that extra battery pack add-in. Worth noting, size and weight, size where I talked about, but weight, this is a 4.1 pound machine with the extra battery. This is a 3.7 pound machine with the additional 6-cell 72 watt hour add-in, right? So that's same machines, slightly different form factors in terms of size, whatever you want to carry around. Now, if you're a user that wants something a little bit different, but you still want the ThinkPad quality and the kind of the accessories or the keyboards, you have a couple different options. This up here is the X1 Carbon. This has been out for a couple of generations. Again, this model we have is configured with the Core i5-5300U, 8 gigs of memory, and 128 gig SSD. It has a price of $1,270. Again, very similar to everything we've seen here. What do you have to sacrifice, though, is you sacrifice some I/O. And you sacrifice some battery in order to get the thinness and sexiness of kind of like the thin light Ultrabook designs, as opposed to what you have with these two more kind of industrialized looking systems. So this is 50 watt hours, so significantly less than the maximum that you can get on either of these two, but it is lighter as well. It's only 3 pounds, so you're more than a pound less than this and about 3/4 of a pound less than the X250. There is no touchscreen on this until you get up to the $1,800 model, so that's something worth noting, although I don't think a lot of us, at least in my opinion, the touchscreen on standard clamshell laptops is kind of a little bit overrated, right? So this is going to give you slightly less throw on your keyboard, similar size of the keyboard that you have on the T450s. Great trackpad, everything again that you would expect out of a Lenovo Thinkpad device, just thinner, sexier, sacrificing on battery life and connectivity. Finally, for people who want another step removed from that, we have the Thinkpad Helix. This is also something that's been around for a couple of generations. This is the only one of these 4 machines that is not based on the Core i5. This is a Core M based machine. It is a 2-in-1 it is a removable 2-in-1 right here. So you can see you have a 12-inch screen tablet that docks into what we have here, which is the Ultrabook Pro Keyboard. They have several different keyboard options. What's interesting about this one is you get the full Lenovo keyboard capability. Trackpad is nice. Everything is great, as you would expect on a ThinkPad device, but it actually adds in some battery life to the device as well. Internally in the tablet, you have 35 watt hours of battery, and in the keyboard dock, you have an additional 26 for a total of 61 watt hours, which is 61 is not the lowest, right? So this is actually 50 watt hours. This is 61 with a lower power processor as well. So you expect to get more battery life out of this than you would out of the X1 Carbon, which is not entirely surprising. This is also not exceptionally light. You'll see as you pick this up, because of it's pretty heavy, pretty dense. This is 3.7 pounds, about the same as the X250 that we looked at before. So in terms of thin and light, the X1 Carbon is still definitely the winner there. Price for this machine, $1,240 as configured, right? So it does have a slower processor, but it does still have 4 gigs of memory, and I think this has 128 gigs of internal storage as well. So you are losing a little bit on the performance side, but you're going to gain some on the battery life side. And again, that is with the Pro keyboard dock as opposed to some of the more lower cost, but not feature additional things. Also, it's a touchscreen device, as most of these are here, but this also has support for an active stylus, but you do have to purchase this extra. Oh, this does come with it. I'm being corrected right now. This does ship with it. One complaint, no place to really it doesn't slide into the tablet at all. You have this kind of little loop on the side of the keyboard dock that it can slide into, which works fine. It's just not as svelte, I guess, as I would like, right? So that's kind of what we have here, right? So for anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300, you can have any of these laptops, any of these ThinkPad machines. Which one is best for you? I personally tend to side with battery life over everything else. And so in that respect, I have often used the X200 series of products. So the X250 might be my choice there. However, a lot of people don't like 12-inch screens. They want a little bit more real estate. You go with the T450s, which are still fairly thin, fairly light, 4-pound machine with the extra battery. Lots of battery life, a little bit more screen. If you want something slimmer, sexier, something that's going to be more impressive when you take it out of your backpack, and you're okay with 4 to 5 hours of battery life as opposed to 9 hours of battery life of actual use, then the X1 Carbon is going to be right for you. It is the closest kind of competitor to a lot of those sexy Ultrabooks that exist, like the Dell XPS 13 and whatnot from other vendors in the ThinkPad lineup, but you're still getting the keyboard, the touchpad, all the nice stuff you like. And then if you are a person that wants a tablet, you want something with an active stylus, the ThinkPad Helix is a good option. I'm still not a huge proponent of 2-in-1s, things that have separate tablet functionality. I don't know if I see the usefulness of a 12-inch tablet that is, again, in retrospect, fairly heavy compared to even the rest of the machines up here. But this is, again, apparently a very popular design in the business world, just in terms of the capability you get out of it, right? So that's an option as well. Everybody's going to have a different choice. Again, if I had to spend $1,300 on a laptop today, I would probably go with the T450s. Slightly bigger screen, huge battery, all-day battery life, and then all of the comfort, creature comforts you get with ThinkPad designs like keyboard and trackpad. I'm very curious to see what your input is, and we are very eager to see what changes Lenovo makes with Skylake to their lineup. I think we'll still see this kind of stable of products, as well as some additional ones like the Yogas that we've talked about many times in the past. But the notebook world is still very exciting, still very interesting, and apparently very stable in pricing. So check out pcpro.com. We'll have more information on all these notebooks, as well as what you can expect in the future from the ThinkPad line. Thanks, guys.